Hello everyone! Today we are making copper 2 acetate monohydrate, or as it's commonly called, cupric acetate, where basically we are taking peracetic acid and copper together making this complex. Few things to know as we go on. This is a very dangerous chemical. It is highly toxic and will kill you. Copper, when ingested or in contact with the eye, will blind you and will just straight kill you. So whatever you do, have the proper safety equipment and gear. Let's start off with what we'll need. In order to make peracetic acid, you need vinegar. You can use white distilled or you can use apple cider vinegar. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, once you start boiling the solution, all the contaminants are going to leave the solution. Next, you're going to need hydrogen peroxide. I used up all my 3% in my other trials, so I'm using 12% and I'm going to use 1/4 of this solution. Normally you would do a 1-to-1 ratio. If you have 3%, you're putting exactly as much vinegar as you put hydrogen peroxide. Next up, you need your containers. I got beakers here. I got beakers here. And I got flasks. Erlenmeyer flask specifically. So what's important here is that you don't use anything you're actually going to drink out of, because as I said, this is poisonous, and any particles that are in this, you decide to drink out of it, you're gonna die. It's not gonna be fun. So you want beakers, Erlenmeyer flasks, and a few graduated cylinders so you can do precise measurements of your solution, which is going to be really helpful for us right now. I also have an air purifier here, and there's going to be a window that's open behind the foam. Now, let's get started with everything else you're going to need. As you see, I have a lab coat. I have these glasses for eye protection. You see I'm not wearing gloves. I'm going to wear them, don't worry. And I'm back. So, now that I got my gloves on, we can get started. First, we need to do some measurements. I'm going to sit down for this, if you don't mind. So, we're going to do a pretty large solution of this. I'm pretty confident we can do a pretty large solution since I've done this a few times, and the fact of the matter is we're going to need a good amount. So, I am going to use, since I have this flask over here, and I'm going to use a lot, I'm going to do a measurement of, if I want this to boil, it's going to be around 500 milliliters. There is going to be a margin of error of a few milliliters simply because, well, human error. So you have to take that into account. Make sure to wash all your equipment before use, because contaminants will interfere with this. Not too much, luckily, due to the acid we're making is not the strongest. However, it will irritate your skin and it can disintegrate and react with softer metals and elements. I actually changed my mind. I'm going to, I'm actually going to do up to 400 milliliters, simply because it'll make it easier for me to do the division of 1/4 for the hydrogen peroxide. Okay, that is 400 milliliters of vinegar. Let me put this away. Hopefully the camera is able to catch that. Next up is going to be our hydrogen peroxide. We need 1/4 of it, so it's going to be 100 milliliters of this. Jeez. I had to use quite. I underestimated how much 100 milligrams is. Milliliters. Oh my god! Don't mind me. It's milliliters. For God's sake. Some of you may. Step is going to be boiling the solution. I have a few stirring rods here. Stirring rods. Magnetic stirrers here. And that I got today. And I'm going to need this one. Hopefully. There we go. It's quite loud. Now we can get started heating this up. I won't need to stir really just yet. So I'll just leave that there. And we're going to wait for this to boil. Once it boils, we'll insert our pennies. As you may or may not be able to see, our solution has started boiling, which means we can cut off the heat, take this out. Whew. Careful, and we put in pennies. And then we get a reaction. So, as time goes on, the pennies, I should stir this. The pennies are going to react with parasitic acid, and as you can see, there's already a color change. And as the solution goes on more and more so, you're going to see it go from green to blue. As you can see, this reaction can get violent in large amounts. So be careful! Or you will regret it, because you do need a big enough container, or else you could have this solution going everywhere, and you really don't want that. After 2 days, the solution has fully turned into a sky blue, at least from the angle I'm looking at. So what happened here is that the reason why it turned green was because too much of it was oxidized due to how huge the reaction was. But as time goes on and the copper reacts more with the parasitic acid, the unoxidized version of it overpowers the oxidized. So we are left with a blue color. If you mess this up and too much of it is green, you can put ammonia in the solution and it will turn as unoxidized as you want it, and control amounts. You can get it exactly as you see here. If you put too much, what ends up happening is that it turns into a purple. Anyways, that is all for this experiment, everyone. Remember, take the proper safety precautions and have fun.